Hello, thank you for stopping by. I'm so glad you're here. The full recipe is written out in the description down below. Welcome to Random Vintage Recipes, where I test to see if a recipe is easy to make, tasty to eat, and most importantly, affordable. Let's spin the wheel to see what we're making today. Talk about good shrimp etouffee. Awesome, I've been wanting to try this one. Talk about good. This is a local cookbook from Lafayette, Louisiana, 1967. And it's got a lot of really good Creole Cajun recipes in there. I need to get to the store and get started on this as soon as possible because it's going to take at least 4 hours to make. Everything was easy to find except the oleo. Obviously, that's no longer made. I am substituting half butter, half shortening for that. Shrimp was on sale. This was $6 a pound, which is a pretty good value. They were out of every other type of shrimp except for the jumbo because everything else was on an even better sale. So I got these big shrimp. I chose this shrimp etouffee recipe because it looked really simple. However, it does not give you a lot of directions. It assumes a lot of knowledge, starting with how to cut the vegetables. I'm just going to dice them up and chop them up in the food processor, sweet and simple. And then you're sauteing this for 4 hours. I am going to be using the Instant Pot because I do not want the stove on for 4 hours in this heat. My AC struggles enough to keep up as it is. I don't want it compensating for all that extra heat. Starting with the prep work, I'm trimming and chopping 4 stalks of celery. This is a rough chop. You don't got to get too fancy with it. Next, you're going to peel and chop 2 to 3 medium onions. Then you want to trim, remove the seeds, and dice up a bell pepper. You can use any color pepper you want. Yellow peppers were on sale for 99 cents. That's why I went with it. So now you got the Trinity. This is quite a bit of stuff in here. Moving over to the Instant Pot, I set this on to saute. I'm putting my 8 tablespoons of shortening in there. Let's see if I can get you to see inside. Come over. I'm also putting half a stick of butter in here, which is 4 tablespoons. We're going to let this melt down. I'm just going to add a little bit of salt and pepper at this point. Once this fat is melted and screaming hot and sizzling, you're going to add in all these veggies. That's going to bring down the party real quick, but it'll come back up. And you're going to add in a can of Ro-Tel tomatoes. I went with mild because my taste buds love spicy. My stomach, not so much. You can go with the hotter flavors if you want to add a little bit more heat to this. Now we're just going to seal this up and we're going to switch this to pressure cook for an hour. I just think the Instant Pot is going to be so much better of an idea than leaving this sauteing on the stovetop for 4 hours. An hour of the Instant Pot is going to get all the cooking you need, and it's not going to heat your house up, and it's not going to take 4 hours. With the Trinity cooking in the Instant Pot, I went ahead and started a batch of plain white rice on the stove to serve with this. You could use like a nice crusty bread, dirty rice if you're feeling fancy, but I think plain white rice is probably the best option. I peeled the shrimp. These are frozen shrimp, a pound and a half. So now I'm taking a little bit of parsley, a lot of bit of parsley, whatever amount feels right to you. I'm just pulling this off the stem. I'm not getting too fancy with it, just grabbing it right there where the leaves were split off of the main stem, and then yanking the leaves one direction, the stem the other direction, and that's it. I think there could be a tendency to overthink fresh herbs, get overly fussy with breaking them down and chopping them. It's not that serious. You're going to get the flavor no matter what. You just don't want giant pieces of it getting stuck in your teeth. So I'm just taking all these herbs and doing a rough chop through them. My knife skills are terrible. That's okay. You don't got to be good at it. Just chop them up. I could have put them in the food processor if I hadn't broken it down already. These herbs aren't being served fresh on top of it. They're being put into the whole kit and caboodle. So they're going to be cooked a little bit. But they got that really nice, fresh, herby smell. I love fresh parsley. There is about 40 minutes left on the Trinity. That gives us a good amount of time to clean up. So when it's time to eat, we don't have to worry about anything but sitting down and enjoying ourselves. This was pressure cooking in here for an hour. All this liquid is just what naturally came out of the veggies and the can of tomatoes. So into this, we're going to add 2 cloves of garlic, the chopped parsley, whatever amount we think is reasonable, a dash of Worcestershire sauce, and 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. Now I turn this on to saute, and I'm going to cook it for a couple minutes. With this back at a boil, I'm adding in a can of cream of mushroom soup. Going to mix that in. I'm giving this a taste just to check the salt and pepper levels. A little bit more salt. A little bit more pepper. And then I'm going to add a little sprinkle of this Tony sauce. Just to round it out. And into this, I'm just going to add my shrimps. I turned the saute off because it was getting crazy hot. But with it still bubbling a little bit, I put the shrimp in there. And I'm going to leave them for a couple of minutes to cook through. So the residual heat's going to cook them through. And I'll come back when it's time to eat this. Just give it like 5 minutes in there. All right, it is time to eat, which is my favorite time. Give myself some rice. I just made this using peel-off method. Plain white rice, sauteed it in butter. 1 part rice to 2 part water. Cooked it for 20 minutes, covered. That's it. Give myself some etouffee on top of that. I got a big pot of it. There's plenty to go around. Let's give myself some of the sauce here. Some shrimps on top of that. You can't have any, Pearl. Sorry. All right, there you go. I think that looks delicious. For as easy as this is to make, it looks awfully tasty. I'm ready to dig in. I got myself some iced tea here. Let's give myself a bite with the shrimp starting off. Very, very tasty. This is delicious. Cooking that Trinity with the Ro-Tel tomatoes gave such a complex flavor without a lot of like heavy seasoning. The parsley in there just cooked a little bit, but enough to tamper it down so it's not such a strong herby flavor. But it still brings like a nice, clean freshness through everything. Just a little bit of that, little bit of heat from the Ro-Tel, a little bit of heat from that Tony seasoning. Neither one is super strong. If you wanted the spicier Ro-Tel, it would definitely bring a little bit more heat. Serving this over plain rice is the right move to make. Turning off the saute function, adding in that shrimp and letting it set for a few minutes really does a good job cooking the shrimp without overcooking it. It's a very savory flavor, but it's still bright and fresh and clean. The cream of mushroom soup doesn't add a lot of like thickness or goopiness to it. Adds a nice creaminess that doesn't overwhelm anything. None of the flavors in here overwhelm each other. They all go together. They all sing. It's like a choir. I have to say that I have loved everything I have made from this book so far. Talk about good. Lafayette, Louisiana, 1967. Creole home cooking. It's not overly complicated. It's not overly seasoned, but it's just really simple, delicious flavors. I think the best way to describe this recipe is to say that I have never tasted it before, but it feels like something my grandma would have made for me. Price-wise, $20 and some change really isn't too much for something so delicious. I would say with the shrimp I used, 6 servings is about what you're going to get. With smaller shrimps, you could probably go up to 10 servings and have plenty to go around. Even at 6 servings, that's $3.43 per serving, which is a great value. It was easy to make, tasty to eat, and it is a great value. If you've liked this video, please give it a like. That helps more than you can know. That's all for today. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the future.